Hello, welcome to day 4 of reading through the Bible. Today, we're starting the book of Psalms. We'll begin with an overview, and then we'll be reading Psalm 1 and 2. The book of Psalms consists of many different hymns and prayers composed by individuals and used by the community. Taking the names in the titles as authors, the date of composition ranges from the time of Moses, 15th century BC, to a time following the exile, 6th century BC or later. Some of the titles contain historical information that might indicate the setting of the song, although even this, like authorship, is subject to interpretation. A little background. Since the book of Psalms contains a variety of psalms written over a long time, there is no one author for the collection. By far the most common designation in the titles is of David, which likely refers to King David. David's role as a musician in Saul's court, as well as his experience as a shepherd, soldier, and king, make him a likely candidate for writing many of the Psalms. Other titles include the designations of Solomon, Asaph, sons of Korah, Ethan, and Moses. The full range of human emotions is shown in this rich collection of 150 Psalms. This record of the responses of God's people in worship and prayer serves the purpose of teaching us how to relate to God in various circumstances of life. The Psalms also demonstrate God's sovereignty and goodness to his people in order to instill confidence in those who put trust in him. Giving thanks for the book of Psalms. The Psalms are deeply relational. They give us a window into who God is, how he acts, and how his people respond. The struggle to understand how God's attributes, particularly his sovereignty and goodness, relate to life experiences is a major theme throughout the Psalms. These words are from people who had not lost their faith in God, although they might have been tempted to at times. Like us, they wrestled with how God was dealing with them personally and as a community. The key verse. The Lord is gracious and righteous. Our God is compassionate. The Lord guards the inexperienced. I was helpless, and he saved me. Aren't we all helpless before the Lord? Psalms is unlike most other biblical books, since it contains many writings collected and compiled over a period of time, and finally organized into its present form. For this reason, it is not possible to outline the book in the standard way. However, there is clearly a structure to the collection. The book is divided into 5 parts, also known as books. According to Jewish tradition, this 5-fold division was based on the arrangement of the Torah, or Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible. The book divisions in Psalms are Book 1, Psalms 1 through 41, Book 2, Psalms 42 through 72, Book 3, Psalms 73 through 89, Book 4, Psalms 90 through 106, and Book 5, Psalms 107 to 150. Another part of the structure of the Psalms is that they are generally grouped together by their titles, such as Asaph Psalms, and those of the sons of Korah. Following the close of each part of the first 4 books is a doxology or statement identifying the end of one book and the beginning of another. The Psalms containing these statements are known as seam Psalms because they show the piecing together of these Psalms to form the collection as it now stands. Book 1, Psalms 1 through 40. We will be reading Psalms 1 and Psalms 2. Psalms 1, the 2 ways. How happy is the one who does not walk in the advice of the wicked, or stand in the pathway with sinners, or sit in the company of mockers. Instead, his delight is in the Lord's instruction, and he meditates on it day and night. He is like a tree planted beside flowing streams, that bears its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers. The wicked are not like this. Instead, they are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore, the wicked will not stand up in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to ruin. Psalms 2. Coronation of the sun. Why do the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers conspire together against the Lord and his anointed one. Let's tear off their chains and throw their ropes off of us. The one enthroned in heaven laughs. The Lord ridicules them. Then he speaks to them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath. I have installed my king on Zion, my holy mountain. I will declare the Lord's decree. He said to me, "You are my son. Today I have become your father. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, and the ends of the earth your possession. You will break them with an iron scepter. You will shatter them like pottery." So now, kings, be wise. Receive instruction, you judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with reverential awe, and rejoice with trembling. Pay homage to the Son, or he will be angry, and you will perish in your rebellion. For his anger may ignite at any moment. All who take refuge in him are happy. This concludes the reading of the two Psalms. Some of my initial reactions. I haven't read these for quite a while. Psalms 1 it always has felt like straight up good advice. Don't take advice from the wicked. The difficulty becomes recognizing the wicked when they're doing their best to present themselves as good, because that's one of the tricky parts about parsing advice is who's got my best intentions at heart, who's actually giving me advice, what is their life like, what are they reaping from their actions, and do I want to reap as they reap? So being careful who we take advice from. Some people's advice is more counter advice. Their advice is description of the path they walked that ought not be walked. There's reassurance here too. He'll plant us where we can prosper. The key there is to align our will with the Lord's will for us. And then our work that we still have to do, we still have to work, but it will be work that is fruitful. And then the line here is important to remember. The tree beside the streams bears fruit in its season. So one of the ways I take that is that we don't necessarily bear the fruit when we want to be bearing the fruit. We bear the fruit when it's the season for the fruit. So we have to be patient with the timing because God knows what we're going to be getting and when, and we're not in charge of it. And the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to ruin. Yeah, there's comfort in that for me. In Psalms 2, I like how it's talking about nations raging and people plotting while God is laughing and ridiculing them because he knows what's going to happen instead. So all of their twisted plans will not happen, and it will be God's will that happens. And there's an encouragement here in that Jesus will reign. He'll right what's been wrong, shatter what needs shattering, judge what needs judging, and we ought to take refuge in him and be happy instead of rebel and get what we think we want, but ultimately be punished. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time.